Hi, I'm Linda Corder with Awaken Ministries. This is a series on cloudy vision, and what I'm going to look at today are how when we have cloudy vision, it clouds our view of the cross. And I'm going to read the testimony of a man named Robert Wieland. He was a pastor who taught righteousness by faith, and it's found in a book called In Search of the Cross. And the book that I'm reading from is copyrighted in 1967. I believe there's also a few versions after that. You can still find this book on the internet. And I'm reading in chapter 9 where he talks about his experience. He grew up believing that after Jesus died, he went to heaven. And really, when he thought about it, it didn't seem like Jesus suffered very much. And so he didn't understand. He accepted the cross and salvation, but he didn't understand why he didn't have a strong emotional response or love for Jesus like he saw other people in church have. So I'm going to read some of his conclusions in his story. What I lacked was an understanding of what the cross meant to him. Since my childhood, my parents and pastors had ignorantly taught me an error that obscured the love of Christ and hid from me the full extent of its beauty and power. This error obscured the cross as heavy smog obscures one's view of the mountain. Then he goes on to talk about what this error was. This error was the common idea of the natural immortality of the soul. The teaching that one cannot really die, that what we call death is merely an immediate release to another level of life. So this basic error is based in ancient heathenism and triggered a chain reaction of confusion in my understanding. A belief, a lot of people believe this, but for him, this teaching lessened his understanding of the cross and lessened his ability to feel a heart love for Jesus. He goes on to talk about that in the Garden of Eden, the Creator had plainly told Adam and Eve that if they should sin in the day of transgression, thou shalt surely die. Genesis 2:17. Then he goes on to describe this idea about natural immortality. This idea became the cornerstone of heathen religion, and from there it infiltrated the doctrine of many Christian churches. The error may seem innocent enough at first thought, but consider what it does to our understanding of the cross of Christ. It effectively contradicts the scriptural statements. Christ died for the ungodly. Christ died for me. Romans 5, verses 6 and 8. In other words, the way Satan wants us to understand it, Christ didn't really die for us at all. He merely endured physical pain in which he was sustained throughout by the assurance that he had nothing to risk, nothing to lose, since he could not really die. So if he had nothing to lose, then what he gave was not of any value. This is found in pages 78 and 77 of this book. So this is a man who, he didn't understand all truth, but God led him to understand about righteousness by faith and to have a heart love for Jesus. We have many truths today that we have cloudy vision about. And one thing we don't want to do is lose our vision, our love for Jesus, of the cross. And we want to have not any blinders on that cover our love for Jesus or our surrender to him. And there are many many errors that are prevalent in churches and both secular and religious community today. So I want you to just think about that. Our goal is we don't want to cloud our vision about Jesus. So I'll close this off and I'll come back and do another video.